When trading options, the things that I think are important are things like volatility and probability and strategy and all that. One of the things that I think is equally important and maybe even more important for product selection is liquidity. How easy can a trader get in and out of a position with as little slippage as possible? Now, when I say easy, I want to emphasize, I'm not saying it's easy to make money. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it is easier to execute a trade efficiently when the product's options specifically are liquid. What do I mean by liquidity? Well, liquidity is a word, but open interest is an actual number you can see. I'm looking at SPY right now, and SPY is the granddaddy or grandmammy, whichever you prefer, of liquidity. What am I looking at here? So here's SPY options, 36 days. Let's go from open interest. Let's take a look at intrinsic value. Let's take a look at open interest. Open interest, 25,000 contracts of open interest. Here, the 713 is kind of low at only 1,000 contracts of open interest. You want extreme numbers? Open up these zero DTEs. Thousands and thousands of contracts of open interest. What does that mean? Open interest is a measure of the number of contracts that are still open. They aren't closed yet. In other words, right here, the 730 puts, there are about 4,000, a little over 4,000 puts that traders are long and 4,000 puts that traders are short. For every long, there's a short and vice versa. Now, a little technical note, back on the trading floor, and I suppose it's different now electronically, but in the trading floor, the board of trade, it was always seller reports. What does that mean? So you'd be in a trading pit and the brokers in the ring, market makers down the middle, and there'd be some, I guess what they called reporters, the exchange employees, quote reporters, or trade reporters. And the buyer and seller would write up a ticket. The buyer would write up a ticket, it was green. The seller would write up a ticket, it was pink. And if both of us reported it to the reporter, it was counted as two trades, but there was only one transaction, the buyer and the seller. So seller reports. Seller would tear off the ticket, hand it over to a clerk, run it over to the quote reporter. Right? That's how the trades were reported to make sure the count was correct. Open interest is that number that hasn't been closed. In other words, I'm still long, another person's still short. Right? We haven't closed our positions yet. Volume is related to it. Volume is a current number. In other words, how many contracts have traded today? Let's go to volume and you can see, VOLM. Volume, 129,000 of these puts have traded today, but the open interest is only 4,006. So why? Well, why is the volume so much higher? It could be closing trades, whatever. You don't know. You don't know who's long or short, buying or selling, or whatever. And you don't know if that would carry through tomorrow. Open interest is updated nightly. In other words, over at the end of the day, popping up for tomorrow. So you don't know if that would actually translate over into the open interest tomorrow, but they're not, because the zero DTEs are going to disappear anyway. So it doesn't really matter. But the point I want to make is 4,000 contracts of open interest, 5-cent wide markets. This is pretty tight. This, like I said, SPY is pretty much the granddaddy, grandmammy of liquidity. I am confident that I can get in and out of a SPY position efficiently, close to fair value as I could. So if I wanted to sell this put spread, okay, mid price is 69.70 cents. I'm pretty confident I could get that 70 cents right now if I routed that order, okay? Let's take a look at something else. Let's look at SPX, okay? SPY is the ETF, SPX. SPY is the ETF that tracks the S&P 500. SPX is the cash index that tracks the S&P 500. Holy smokes. Open interest on these things, 3,500, 2,000, 1,069. Volume is huge in these things. And look at some of these markets. For a $7,200 product, these things are a nickel wide. That is crazy. In the old days, they'd be $1, $2 wide. Now, all the trading in the zero DT options has tightened up the markets. And you see that because of the high volume and the strong open interest. Let's go back to a stock. Let's try Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs, part of the Dow, big bank. Look at the open interest. Holy smokes, I didn't know it was this low. Ones and twos in the volume, 14,908. The open interest stinks in Goldman Sachs options. Let's go down to the 7 days and see if it's any better. Barely. Okay, it was 1,000, but 110 for $1,000 stock price for a stock as big as Goldman Sachs, company as big as Goldman Sachs. This is pitiful. And the markets, what is this, $2.70 wide? No. Okay? I'm not saying you can't trade Goldman Sachs. I'm not saying you can't trade Goldman Sachs options. But you're making it harder on yourself. Me, I would see these markets say, nah, I'm going to go take my ball and play somewhere else. The low open interest, and I've been stuck, by the way, in Goldman Sachs option positions where I can't get out. So I speak from experience. If I were to sell this put spread, buy the 75, buy the 80s, $1.68. Could I actually get filled at $1.68? Probably not. I might have to go down to $1.60, $1.55. I don't know. But the point is, I'm giving up way too much edge from fair value. In other words, if the lower I sell away from $1.68, the more edge I'm giving to the market maker and losing. Okay? That's a hard way to trade. It's a hard way to make money. It's fighting the liquidity. So I would skip Goldman Sachs, for example. Let's look at another one. Let's look at Qs. Here's an example. This is a good example. Here's Qs. Okay, 36 days, holy smokes, 9,000 contracts of open interest, 10 cent wide or even tighter bid-ask spreads in the options. And again, that's impressive if it's a $700 ETF now. Okay, so they're expensive options that are naturally wide. It's a volatile product. Market makers keep the markets a little bit wider, but the open interest, this is huge. If I wanted to sell this put spread, I'm just pulling this stuff randomly. Could I get 37 cents? Yeah, probably. Maybe I'd give up a tick, maybe a penny, but I'd get very close to fair value. Now, let's go look at that. QQQs is the NASDAQ 100 ETF. Let's go look at the NDX. The NDX is to Qs like SPX is to SPY. Think of it that way. Open up the 36-day options. This is pathetic. Okay. 13 open interest, 5 open 0, 9, 9. All right, well, let's look at the 0 DTEs. 0, 13, 1. No. And the markets, $4 or $5 wide. NDX is harder to trade. Does it mean that I would never trade NDX? No. Does it mean that you shouldn't trade NDX options? No. But understand you're fighting liquidity. Liquidity isn't doing you any favors. You're going to have a harder time executing at fair value, and if you want to take the trade off, you're going to pay over fair value. Okay, so you're getting the slippage, getting hit with slippage on both directions. In this case, if I wanted to speculate on the NASDAQ 100, I am much more comfortable with something like the Qs, where I can execute closer to fair value. That's how I use open interest. As a shorthand, you can go into the, let's see, quote details right here. You see this liquidity indicator? This is something I came up with years ago as an estimate of what the liquidity might be. It's a combination of the open interest and the average bid-ask spread. It's that the number of stars, 4 stars is the highest. So if you're trading 4-star liquidity, yeah, it's probably a pretty decent option market to trade. But look closely at these numbers, the open interest in particular, to see if you can execute trades efficiently. So use this to, when you're looking at stocks to trade, something in the news or something that hits a certain technical or fundamental indicator, whatever, okay? Before you trade an option, take a look at the open interest and the bid-ask spreads, okay? So none of this is a trade recommendation. If you want to trade this stuff, please use a smart strategy and do not take any more risk than you are comfortable with.